If you're putting good energy into the world, you're doing something positive, people will start reaching out to you. The things that you need will start coming to you instead of you having to figure out, like, you have to go find them, right? It's basically you just starting your own wave in a sense. And I think if you can get past waiting until the time is right, then that's the first and foremost thing that you can do to get from idea to execution, right? Obviously, you got to have a plan, you got all that different stuff, but start, right? Don't stop saying, I'm going to do it tomorrow, I'm going to do all this. For what my boys say, IDCC, stop waiting till the time is right. Just do it now. Welcome world, welcome family to another episode of the EL2A Podcast. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Jamie Gilmore Jr. And to the right of me, we got a very, very special, we ain't got to get a guest. Today we got the Rocket. How you doing today, Mr.
Right,
Rocket?
bro. What's up with you, man?
I'm good, man. So the Rocket's probably on an all-time high as you're watching, as we're recording this, right? You're going to see it later. The Rocket, one of his teams won. I guess it's his team. The Florida State Seminoles, they look pretty good, man. How you feeling right now, the Rocket?
I'm feeling pretty good. I wish I had some Florida Gators in the house. See what they thought about it.
No Gators today. But what about the Heights of Seven Hills?
Yeah,
what's going on over there?
Man. Rebuilding. I'm gonna say rebuilding. I think this is the second year. Coach's second year, they head coach.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so. But hey man, things happen.
Yeah.
Gotta work on some execution.
I got you. Execution. Football season is back, y'all. Football season is back. Yeah. This wonderful time of the year. We're creeping into that fall. There's some of that brisk wind in the air. Just a great time right now. But what you need to do right now is stop and like, subscribe, and comment. All right. No need of watching these episodes and not stopping to like, subscribe, and comment. Other than that, October the 11th, we got our Legacy Run 5K partnering with the Mem Run Club and Cut Different doing this 5K, and the proceeds will be going to Cut Different Academy. You see it going down right there in front of us, man. So make sure you're scanning the QR code. You're going to sign up for that race, man. This is a great time of community coming together for education and for health. It's a double whammy, and you being able to support this 5K, you're putting yourself in that community to be able to help. So we definitely appreciate everybody. But what's up, EL2A family, man? Come invest in the futures that are going to change the world. What you see here right now, man, we are reimagining education, right? We are giving these young boys and showing them who they are and where they're going. We're creating a school to career pipeline, and it's happening right here on this property, man. So let's go, EL2A fam. We're going to have a QR code that pops up. You scan that code, all right? And it's going to take you and tell you everything you need to know to come help us invest in the futures that's going to change the world. Let's go. Man, time is going, Roxton.
Yes, sir.
Time is going. So one thing I was thinking about today, coming in today doing this podcast, the word execution came about, right? The reason I talked about saying execution because it's an easy thing to say, but it's a hard thing to do. When I think about execution, a lot of people look at myself, right? And they're like, Jamie, you've gotten this far, or they look into us where we're currently at, where Cut Different is, and they talk about like how we got there or how we do what we do now, like day in and day out, we're doing certain things, and they're wondering how we're doing it, but they don't understand that there's been years and years of compound interest, daily deposits, and execution that's been happening. And if I had to put it to one thing, I will put our success to execution, right? Just moving. There's a lot of things on this path to be where we currently are right now that we did not know. We just moved on it. We wanted to do a podcast, right? We just started putting our phone up. We went to the church. We recorded in a car. It looked terrible. You can go on YouTube and watch it. But one thing we did, we just did it. Even now, Cut Different, going and starting a nonprofit. We didn't know how to do it. And that point, we went to seek somebody that did know how to do it, right? We cut out the nonsense of trying to think about how, when, what, where, how. Like we went and found the resources that we need, or we just did it. Even currently now, thinking about Cut Different Academy, all right, taking the next step. There's a lot of stuff that was unknown. Obviously, we go into more details of figuring it out. It's like we're not just doing it, but we took the action. We knew there was a need, and we took action, right? So in order for us, right, and I can talk for myself, you can talk for yourself, execution is the key, right? Mm-hmm. We always say, we listen to Eric Thomas, he say execution is worship. Even here at Cut Different, we always say performance has its perks, which is the same thing. For yourself, man, what is stopping people, right? What is stopping people from executing? Mm-hmm. It's simply said, right? execution. Everybody wants to be a winner. Everybody wants to be a champion, but don't everybody execute. So what's stopping the people from executing out there, man? Let's help. And before we even get into it, let's help some people today, right? Let's really dive deep and help, because you've done some great things in your life, right? You played college football, right? You started a business, right? You started multiple businesses, right? You're in real estate. You've done all these things. So at a point in your life, there's things that you wanted to do and you went and did it. What's allowed you to do that, and what's stopping other people from not doing it?
Yeah. So I think what stops a lot of people is the fear of the unknown. Yeah. And whatever you're doing, whether it's business, health, whatever, working out, relationship, whatever it is, I think it's the fear of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can see, we see a lot of people that show, they show the success out of whatever they obtain, but they don't actually show the process of what it took to get there. So for somebody that wants to be a millionaire, all right, well, you hear people say, okay, well, millionaires really don't sleep, or if they do sleep, they make money in their sleep. But with that thought process, millionaires don't sleep. It's like, okay, well, if I want to be a millionaire, that means I got to stay up all time of the night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I want to go to sleep. That's sleep is something that I want to do, but that means, so in their mind, you start formulating all these different ideas and crazy thoughts of like, dang, so I can't watch this, I can't do this, I can't do that. It's uncomfortable. And then that goes to where we say, sometimes in order for you to succeed, you got to get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times it's just the fear of what it's going to take to get there that stops them from executing. So the execution for me with the different businesses or the different things that I'm okay with. It took me some time to get to this point, but I'm okay with the failing aspect of things. And I mean, as long as it's not going to be detrimental to the business or to my family or whatever the case may be, I'm okay with failing, because in that process of trying to succeed or be successful, whether it's business or real estate, whatever the case is, there's something that I learned along the way that made it even easier after the failure. Mm-hmm. So I guess when you say business, Jet Solid Transport, the first year me and Bobby went out with that, we failed multiple times. We failed 3 times. The 4th time was crazy. We found a decent driver that he understood the assignment, so to speak. He knew what it was, or what it was going to take in order to make that business grow. So the first time Jet Solid Transport, that failed. Jet Solid Transport 2, when we came out the second time, all right, we understood that we needed a dispatcher. We understood that we needed to make sure we maintenance the truck regularly. We understood that we needed a driver that was on the same page as us. So again, at that point, we just started executing. We failed in the beginning, and through that process, it was scary. I'm not gonna lie, but through those tough times, we learned something. So now, when we went the 4th time, that executing no matter what, we were okay to. We knew, okay, well, we already felt before, but we're not going to make that same mistake. I think the execution along, just doing it, doing whatever it is that you want to do, you just got to be able to endure some of the tough times.
Yeah, one thing caught my ear, what you say you're okay with failing, right? Again, that's something, it gets cliche, right? A loss is a lesson. That's something that grind my gear too. I hate when people say a loss is a lesson. No, it's a loss, right? A loss is a loss. You can learn a lesson from the loss, but it's a loss. I think too many times we try to put like ice cream on top of what the thing is to make it something else. No, a loss is a loss. You just learn from it. But going back to what you were saying, a sidebar. But in being okay to fail, right? You think about the system we were brought up in. You get a letter grade, right? You get the A, B, C, D, F. Nobody wanted to get an F, right? And for you to be at this point and saying you're okay with failing, if you told your grade school teacher that or your parent that, you might would have got a whooping or something, you know what I mean? So coming to being an adult and saying that I'm okay at failing something, what allowed you to say that? Like, how did you get to that point?
Yeah, I guess maturity, being able to be mature in whatever I'm failing at. Now, don't get it wrong, so for the people that, I'm glad you brought that up, because there's certain things in my life, being a dad, a father, being a great mentor, I don't want to fail at that, because there are people that are actually depending on me in order to make sure, that they get somewhere. There are people that's depending on us that we don't even know. People that's on the other side of these cameras that if we fail, we have never met them, but they're in our life, they may feel like they failed because they're dependent on us. Right. So there's certain things that I'm okay with failing when it comes to business. Anything that's monetary, when it comes to something like that, I feel like, case in point, so with the real estate thing, I think, I know I was talking to Rory a lot through that process, but it was like, it was kind of that same concept. I was okay with failing because I knew each time I took the test, I really was learning something more. Like, I went from saying, okay, I'm gonna wait 2 weeks to take the test so I can learn more. But then when I realized, man, within those 2 weeks, there was a lot of things that I forgot. So instead of waiting 2 weeks, I'm gonna go right back in it. So I was able to remember things, right? Like, I was able to remember so many things by taking the test repeatedly, right? Back to back. So within those failing moments, I still learned that, okay, it's not good to wait that long. It's actually better to go ahead and take the test right after. Within that, the failure, what motivated me was knowing that even within the failing moments, me trying to get the real estate license, I had family members that wanted me to succeed. I had I was telling the boys, telling my kids, that I was going to be a real estate agent. So there were people that wanted to see me win. Me failing only motivated me because I knew that I had other people that wanted to see me succeed in that, to get my license. So the execution part of it, even when I didn't want to, I remember saying it to myself, like, man, I ain't doing this no more. I'm tired of spending money and tired of failing this test. But even in that moment, it's like, nah, execution, you got to go execute that thing because there are people that want to see you win. So I think it was just maturity, man, because when I was younger, fell into business out at one point, before we started Just Solid, that was one thing we thought about. You hear all the naysayers of, well, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. That can scare you from achieving something. But again, if you execute and learn through the process, I think it works out in your favor, as long as you learn along the way.
Yeah. So execution is you getting from that idea right to the thing actually happening, right? And that's what cripples people. It's like, how do I get from idea to execution? And I think we gotta, what I want to do right now, I want to help people, right? I want both of us to give them advice on how you get from idea to execution. Me personally, I think the first thing you have to do is get past that wait until the time is right, right? I think that's what most people do. Is like, there's a saying, there's a myth. I'm going to do it when the time is right. And that's completely false, right? The time will never be right. The stars would never align. There's always going to be something that you can pinpoint and say, that ain't right. That ain't right. Or, you know what I mean? I need this to be just do it. And through the process of doing, things start aligning, right? Energy started attracting. I said in the video I created today, even with Cut Different, we just started moving. We just started doing it. And then we started attracting the things that we needed, right? Most people like things that's moving forward. They like to see good energy, right? And if you're putting good energy into the world, you're doing something positive, people will start reaching out to you. The things that you need will start coming to you instead of you having to figure out, like, you have to go find them, right? It's basically you just starting your own wave in a sense. And I think if you can get past waiting till the time is right, then that's the first and foremost thing that you can do to get from idea to execution, right? Obviously, you got to have a plan, you got all that different stuff, but start. Right? Don't stop saying, I'm gonna do it tomorrow, I'm gonna do all this. For what my boys say, IDCC, stop waiting till the time is right. Just do it now. And that thing is so serious because you're really stopping yourself. The hesitation that you're doing, you're stopping yourself. You're making the thing bigger than what it is. And even in that, I think it's a mindset thing, right? A lot of people, when they have an idea, they think about all the things that can go wrong. When I have an idea, I think about ways it could be right. Not to pick on Javi, but Javi, I remember one time I said something to Javi, and I was speaking to Javi when Javi came on the team, and I said, hey man, let's do this. And then I could see, like, his brain was like thinking about all the factors that could stop it from or hurt from hindering us from doing what I was trying to do. And I was trying to get on how we got to start thinking about that. My thing is more so not thinking about, okay, this is why I can't, this is why I can. Obviously, there's things that if it can't, it can't. But we're not going to think about, we're not going to compile, like, bottle our brain with all the negatives. Let's put the positive, right? Okay, in order to make this happen, this is what, let's not think about this can't happen, because in order to make this happen, we have to shift this around, do this and do that. And I think if you can get that mindset of what you're doing, instead of looking at it as negative, that thing is crippling you and it's making your brain shut down. If you can look, okay, in order for me to do this, this is how we get it done, right? So shifting your mindset and getting past the wait until it's too late. That's how you get from that idea to execution. So Robbie, what you think?
Yeah, hearing your explanation with it, I mean, you're definitely right. It's definitely a mindset thing. So I would still say mindset, but not in the aspect of what can go wrong, what if it go right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because at that point, it's like, now you really on the other side of the thing. You know what I'm saying? So the what can, like, if I become a real estate agent, how much money can I make?
Yeah.
How many lives can I change?
Yeah.
What information can I pass down to my kids? Like, what will they pick up on in order to continue, you know, the legacy that I wanna have? How can it help impact cut different? Like, what things can I do to help, you know, within real estate to help cut different grow? How can we add a shelter department for, you know, those type of. So for me, when I started thinking like that, I remember calling Rory and I told her, I was like, bro, I thank God for that, because when I first came into it, it was like, all right, what can real estate do as far as making money for me? Like what, that was the only thing that I was thinking about when I was even in that moment of executing. It's like, okay, I'm gonna execute this thing for the money. I'm gonna get this money. I'm gonna, you know, be able to give it to the family, whatever, do what we want to do. But then through that same process, as I'm doing it, as I'm taking the test and things starting to go, like I said, the part of another piece coming to it, just doing it, like, okay, well, all right, we got this far, and we could do this. We can buy land. We can put houses on there. It's like it was like a compound interest. So I would say just try to see, like, you know, if you're gonna sit down at the table and say, okay, well, I want to do that. You got an idea? All right, here are all the bad things that can happen. All right, well, you know, like in school when they got the Venn diagram, all the, you know, the good and the bad, and put them both together. You know what I'm saying? And now on one side, here's all the bad things, but on the other side, here are all the good things.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you're gonna like what's on this, you know, on the good thing side. So just go ahead and do it and try to get all this good stuff.
Yeah.
Know the bad things may come. That's a part of it. You got to learn from that. That's what you said. Those bad things should help you get to this side of things anyway. So I think that's about the best way to put it.
For sure. And another tool is, you just made me think of another tool, the SWOT analysis, right? Yeah. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Anytime you're about to do something, that's the best thing you could do, right? You put in you really corner it off to see at every sector, how can I move forward, right? Obviously, strengths is things that's, you know, the good things about, the weaknesses, bad things, opportunities. This is what can come if this goes. The threats are the things that's hindering this from happening. So that is a very important tool to use as you're going for the business and personal, whatever you're trying to do a SWOT analysis on it. So you just made me think about that. But in another thing, in execution, I think another thing is consistency, right? Yeah. Sure. Consistency is another factor when it comes to being to execute, right? You can't just start and then, you know, not do nothing. You have to be consistent in those actions. You know, they call me Mr. Daily Deposit. So I think consistency is one of my superpowers. That's something I'm really good at. A lot of people aren't. And I think that was one of my biggest disappointments in life. And I had to understand that. I was so routine. I was so like consistent at the things I did. When I met a person that wasn't, it felt like something was wrong with that person. But then I start understanding that that's not like, that's unnormal. It's not unnormal for somebody not to be consistent. A lot of people are, you know what I mean? They'll show up late to certain things. They'll, you know, not wake up for their alarm clock. They won't, if they eat at 12, you know what I mean? Just certain things they can't be consistent at. Why? You know what I mean? So what's stopping? Because I think consistency is, like, if you're watching this, you can speak for yourself, but I think consistency is stopping a lot of people. So we can talk, you know, for the people watching, like, what about consistency is hindering people?
Yeah. I mean, I can't say, well, I think, so this takes me back to the podcast that we said, we were talking about working out, the workout thing. And then we got on stage and we got on the camera, and I told everybody, I told the world that, hey, well, Mr. Jamie just felt like it was a challenge, and I went straight to working out right after that. But I also said it, like, sometimes it's just something, it's like that, it's personal. I don't know why I do it, but it's something where when I feel like I want to do it and want to be consistent with it, I'm going to do it. But then there's moments and I stop, and I hadn't been working out the way that I supposed consistently. I've been consistently working out, and, you know, so I could feel it sometimes, but that's more of just a personal thing. I mean, it could be something that's just going back to a mindset. But again, I know, and I preference this by saying, you know, what I said the first time is, like, I know whenever I want to do something, I can do it. You know what I'm saying? And I can be consistent at it. Now, is that a good thing? No. Is it a bad thing? Depending on what it is, but I know I can get myself back on track. Everybody may not be wired that way. People may not have that on-off switch, and that's a problem. If you're not being consistent and you can't turn it on, you know, the good things that you were talking about trying to do, I highly doubt you're going to be able to achieve those things if you can't turn that light switch on. I guess within real estate, there was I hear my broker Ramel talking now, you know, being consistent, got to consistently make the calls, and it's like, bro, I don't want to call all these people. So it's cool when the money come in there, but when you stop making those calls, or when the money not coming in no more, you think back to the calls like, dang, did I make those calls?
Yeah.
So now, you know what I'm saying? So you got to see like what's going to generate business, what's going to generate the outcome. The consistency is going to help you. The consistency is actually the execution. Because if you're executing, then you're being consistent, and then you're going to achieve whatever it is that you're trying to get.
Yeah. And I think the thing that stops people from being consistent is the thought process of everybody. You want to score a touchdown every time. You know what I mean? It's like the big goal. Like they say, Rome wasn't built in a day. You know what I mean? I think most people think that Rome supposed to be built. The day I start is the day I'm supposed to. The day I start working out is the day I'm supposed to see a lump on my muscles. You know what I mean? If I'm in business, the day I start, I should be making some money. It's like, nah, it don't work like that. You know what I mean? You have to be consistent. It's daily deposit. There has to be actions that go forth each and every day that get you to where you want to go. That's where the system is built. That's where the habit is built, right? That's going to stop you from waking up in day 7 and like, okay, I don't want to do this no more. You're actually building a habit. There's actually science to this stuff, how long it takes for a person to build a habit. And I think even that conscious knowledge of, okay, if I do the same thing at the same time, at the same, you know, each and every day, that it's going to become normal to me, and I start doing those actions. That's what's locked you into, to be able to look a month or two down the line and you're like, oh crap, look what I've done. Because you get so lost up in that system, you get so lost up in the action that it's just a daily habit, and it just happens. You know what I mean? Like habits, people bite their nails every day. You know, how did that happen? Because they started biting their nails day by day, and now they just, you'll say, so I didn't even know I was biting my nails. That's how much you got to lock into what you do day to day. Like it has to be something that you just do and you don't even know you're doing it, right? That's where that success is going to come from. And I think people don't look at it like that. You look at, you know, I'm about to say stupid stuff, but you look at stuff like bite your nails or somebody, whatever you may be doing, that's a habit. And you look at those things as like, man, you know, why does this person do this? It's like, that's not like, you need that attention to detail when you're trying to do whatever you're doing.
You say that, and it's crazy to even think about it on that level, but y'all got to really think about it on that level, like you just said. So the consistency. So I hear, you know, they like, man, with Naya, with her being so Naya is 13 years old. That's my oldest daughter. And I sit and think, you know, I hear people say, she's a dad's girl. And I sit and think about it. And it's like, well, how did we get there? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what actually took place? So life has been lifing for all these years. And it's like, you know, that's just how our relationship is. Literally, it was crazy because it was last night. I'm sitting there thinking, like the little things that took place from her, you know, from her being with me from age 1 up until 4. She was literally waking up, you know, to me in the mornings, and then I'll come home from work and she was there, or like I will come home and she was there to see me, you know, when her dad got off from work. So over time, the consistency of me being present in her life over these last 13 years has gotten it to the point where people are like, man, why y'all so close? You know what I'm saying? But, and it's, to me, it was just, I thought it was normal. Like you just said it. Yeah. I thought it was just normal for a man to be in his child's life every day consistently. Yeah. But I mean, it's not normal. You know, that's what we do, you know, within the organization with some of the boys. But those little things, to your point, those little things actually do build up over time to the point. It just gets to the point of that's just how it is. It just seemed normal, like a breathing organism, something that you just used to doing on a day-to-day basis. But it really took consistency, and it took the execution of doing it, because at any moment in her life, if I would have said, okay, I don't want to do that no more, I don't want to be present, I don't want to show up, the relationship that she and I have could be completely different. Yeah. So. And I think that goes to, man, to sum that up, it's better to give the same percent every day. Monday through Sunday, giving the same amount each and every day to something, then giving none one day, 100% the next day, none the next day, too. You know what I mean? To be so inconsistent like that. I'm telling you, if you give the same amount to it every day, then that's going to beat that. That makes me think about football when you talk about the players. Coaches like, man, do you want one of those home run players, or do you want a player that you know that's just going to give you a consistent amount of yards? Like every day you're going to get this out of him, or every game you're going to get this out of him, or do you want a player that he possibly
can hit a home run here now. You know what I mean? I want that guy that's going to give me what I know that I can get every day. That's how we win, because I can build around that, right? If I know I'm getting this, then I can get this from you and get this from you. I don't want the unknown. I don't want a guy that, he can take it 100 yards, but we don't know when. Nah, I don't want that. Give me the guy that's going to give me 20, 20, 20 every game. You know what I mean? So that's the importance of that. So I think the next thing, so we went consistency. I think the next thing is discipline. So discipline is hard, right? That the discipline is what you need to be consistent. A lot of people aren't disciplined. You know what I mean? I think the discipline I have comes from the home I come from, we come from, and also playing sports. You know what I mean? I was immersed in environments that you had to be disciplined or you wouldn't survive. All right. So over time, that helped me be the disciplined person I am today. What about discipline? Why, can you learn? I guess you can't. You do learn discipline. But how can somebody that's watching, if they say, well, I ain't disciplined, I don't know how can they seek or go find a way to be disciplined?
Eric Thomas.
For real.
Eric Thomas and Associates. I mean, reading books, a lot of successful people, I know that may be cliche as well, but a lot of people say, you read books, you find out what these successful people did in order to get to where they are. And when you go into these books or you listen to these podcasts, you hear them talk about being disciplined. I was trying to think about, I know the last podcast, I was trying to figure out what Coach Taylor has said, but basically, and I think you asked, like, what is discipline? And it's doing what you were taught to do, and you just doing it the right way over and over, because when you're doing the same, once you're taught something and you do it consistently, you're doing it over and over, you've been disciplined in whatever it is that you're doing, and that's going to get you a good result. The moment that you are not disciplined and you veer off, so as if my coach had taught me to run a certain hole, knowing that the O-line is going to block a certain way, knowing that the quarterback is going to hand the ball off to us in a certain position or towards a certain hole, if I do that consistently, knowing that all these things are going to lead up to this big run, then we're good. But the moment that I take the wrong step, or the moment I go to the wrong hole, even though the O-line is going in the right way, even though the quarterback is turning in the right way to hand off the ball, if I go the wrong direction, that play is a bust. Now the quarterback got to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? So it's the discipline of doing what the coaches had taught us to do that's going to help open up the big run. So, that's about the best I can do. You just doing so you're saying how, again, my suggestion was just, like I said, go Eric Thomas, Jamal King, Carlos Quinney III, or Carlos Quinney Jr., just go find people that are winning and find out what it is that they're doing to win, and go and implement some of the things that they're doing. You could take it from different people. Go read a book. It's different things that you can pull, and that's something that I did before too, where you heard Dave Ramsey with his the financial literacy, but I went from Dave Ramsey, Jamal King had a different way of doing it, but they all had the same end goal. So I pulled a bit from each one, and now I'm able to save and get money going the way that I wanted to go. So it's really about just finding somebody that's winning, implement, pull from them what they're doing in order to get there. So you have to be disciplined to do whatever it is that you pull from them, and just be consistent with it, and going back to the execution part that's going to get you to the end goal.
No, that's right on. That's what I would say too. So environment, I think that critiques it all. What environment are you immersed in, right? To what Eddie's saying is mentorship, right? So finding somebody that can guide you. One thing about it, especially in this life, mentorship is you giving something to somebody to help expedite their process, right? So if I need mentorship and discipline, to Eddie's point, you find somebody that is extremely disciplined, and that's going to cause them to hold you accountable, and that's going to cause them to push you past your threshold, right? Think about it, like you say, Eric Cummings. You think about the guy David Goggins was coming to mind. People that just are psyched out in what they do. You have to be able to get that level of pressure around you. And then that accountability piece, once you start getting around certain folks, and now me and Eddie are challenging each other to read our Bible every night. Every day I have to come in and talk to you. I'm going to make sure, I don't want to disappoint you. That's just like a child with their parent, or any level of relationship. Any relationship, you don't want to disappoint your friends and disappoint people, right? So through that accountability, that means that at night, right, when it's time to go to bed, right, and if I have to read that Bible to come back to you, instead of going to bed, I'm going to read my Bible, right? But if you don't have that level of accountability, what you're going to do? I just read it in the morning. Knowing when you wake up in the morning, your world just gonna go so fast and you ain't gonna have time, right? I find myself doing that all the time. You know what I mean? With certain things, there's certain things in life, and this is very important. We make time for what we want, right? This is the most important time. Some people may argue with that, but I truly believe that we make time for what we want. Cause I do that all the time. Even with stuff like the Bible, like the Bible app. I have a certain routine that I do exactly every day. What I do is I go to the gym, and in the gym, when I get into the when I get into the sauna, I do my Bible, the what's devotional in the morning. When somebody comes into the thing with me and they start talking to me, it messes me up because I have a lot of time. I have 15 minutes to be able to immerse myself in that. That's my time a lot. And if somebody comes in and they mess that up and they're talking to me and I can't focus, then I take it out. And then what I say is when I get to the office, it's time I'll do it. And when I get my day goes too fast, and then I find myself waking up and say like, dang. But I say that to say if it really was important, if I had this significance, I would find time within my day to say, let me schedule stuff like this out. And so I really truly believe that, man, anything that you really want to do, you'll lock into it. So
you just said something that I think in order to be consistent, in order to be disciplined, in order to execute, you gotta and you said it, we make time for what we want to make time for. Again, Ramel, in my ear right now, what does your schedule look like? I'm like, bro, this shit, my schedule changed so much. But he is so right, because if you're scheduling whatever it is that you're trying to execute, whatever it is that scheduling is going to help you execute, you're gonna execute overall. Within that scheduling, it's going to help you be consistent, because now you're putting it down to say, okay, I'm going to do this at this time. I'm going to read the Bible at this time. I'm going to go to study at this time, and then I'll get that end result. And then, like you're saying, being disciplined. Now, how long? All right, then it's crazy because it's all coming back. So through the whole real estate journey, through that, the studying process to get my license, I remember leaving home and I'm like, yo, I'll be back. I'm about to go study. And I remember saying like, well, you've been going all day, but it was something that I knew if I was doing it at home, I wasn't going to be able to study the way that I wanted to. So it was like for weeks at a time, I remember leaving and going to the public library, making sure I studied, whether it was an hour or 2 hours, but I would go there to study. And then over time, it just got to the point of now I executed and I got my license. So that scheduling is so key. And I mean, even when you think about cut different, where we started from to where we are now, think about how many the schedule that we had to do. And when I say schedule, but the things that we had to plan in order to get to where we are now. It didn't just happen overnight. Right. It wasn't something, like you said, we had to sit down with different people in order to figure out where it was that we were trying to go, but it had to be put on paper, or we had to sit down, we had to schedule that in to make sure that we executed whatever it is that we said we were going to do. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, like you said, they just think it's just going to happen. It's just going to happen just because you say, I got an idea. Nah, you got to put the thing down on paper, schedule it out, plan it out, and then do the necessary steps in order to get to what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, in a nutshell, man. I love it. I think we gave so much, game when it comes to each sector. When we're thinking about the consistency, having mentors, there's so much that you just was given in this, in this sit down right now. And I think it's time for people to execute, man. We'll stop putting all these factors in front of you. Start thinking about what can go wrong and start thinking about what can go right. A lot of people will succeed if they just move, right? If you just act it in the unknown, in the whatever, just move forward. Like if something comes to you, and I think so many things, that's why they say most of the greatest ideas are in the graveyard, because most of the people die with it. We've sat down with people that had books or plans that they never executed on, they're still sitting on. If you can think about that, like think about God giving you, blessing you with a beautiful idea, a beautiful thing, and he's telling you to do it, and you're basically saying, nah, I ain't gonna do that, God. That idea that you just gave me that may change somebody's life, I'm not gonna act on that. This business plan that you just gave me, I ain't gonna act on that, God. Sometimes you gotta think of stuff on that level and think about the level of disappointment that you're giving to yourself based about not executing, man. So I'm gonna say 3 words that I got for you. Prioritize, plan, perform. Prioritize, plan, perform. Again, get your priorities right. That's one of the first things, because sometimes people do jump into something and they don't got their priorities right. There's too much going on. Make sure the time is right? Plan and then perform. All right. And when I say that, this doesn't mean when you prioritize, you're thinking about, oh, I got to do this. Make the main thing, right? Okay. Either it works or it don't. It's all these sectors, it don't take a week at a time to figure out if it's right. You should be able to sit down at one time and be able to calculate if this is the right decision. you don't take too much time, because when you see what it say, study long, study wrong. Be able to get into it and be able to make it happen. Then when you get into that plan, and the plan is you detailing, you doing a SWOT analysis, you doing all the things that just was given on this podcast. And once you got those two things in order, like you got your timing right and you got your plan, just go, right? Just go. It's time to perform, right? Just like I think about my football analogy, my coach used to always say, when your foot are in the lines, right? When you step in between the lines, in between them white lines, it's full speed. And you got to think about it like that. Get in the game, right? Get off the sideline, get into the game, perform. Get off the sideline, get into the game, perform, man, and take action. So that's my advice from me, man. I hope and I just pray, man, y'all execute, right? Stop playing small, right? Play big. God put you here for a reason. Everybody was put on this earth for a reason. There's a gift that you have in you, and if you don't execute that gift, you actually, robbing yourself and robbing those around you, right? One man's obedience is connected to the destiny of others. You got to think about things like that. So by me not doing the thing that I need to do, I'm holding back a whole other group of people. By me executing, I open up a door, I give access to a whole bunch of people, right? You got to take yourself out of the equation. I think so many times we focus on ourselves, how we're going to feel, how it may hurt us, that we miss the bigger picture, man. This life isn't about us, right? We're just a vessel, right? We're a vessel here that God placed here to be able to, for the bigger picture, right? The bigger mission. And if you're not going to execute, man, you're holding us back from getting to that bigger mission. So I encourage you to execute, all right? Tap into that highest source, man, and go execute, right? So that's just me, Rocky. You got anything as we spin off?
Yeah. So one thing that I guess is an analogy, or it's a picture, something that helps me in those moments when it's like, okay, I'll do it later. Or if there's, to your point, that there was an idea that I had that I have that I feel like it could be good. I think back to this. I think it was Les Brown. One of his speeches, he was saying, I guess a guy he was in his up in age, and it was basically it was his time to transition, and as he was in the bed, there were he was there, the eyes closed, but he can see a whole bunch of ghosts, basically just of himself. So it was him standing around the bed, and the ghosts were different ideas that he had, and they were disappointed in him. Like you said, they were disappointed in him because he had a whole bunch of ideas that he never brought to fruition. Mm-hmm. And I sit and think about that from time to time, or I sit and think about that at different times when I want to do different things, and it's just like, God, I can't be that. I don't want that, so I want to be able to execute whatever it is, whatever idea, whatever plan, whatever he bring my way, so that the moment whenever I do leave, I can feel like I've done what God had brought me on this earth to do. To your point, hey man, don't be in that bed, with people around you, disappointed in you for not being able to execute what God, brought to you.
Yeah. Execution, man. Y'all, come on. It's time to execute. All right, execute. Make sure you get out there and execute. Another thing you can execute on, man, you can start right now, like, subscribe, and comment. All right, that's your execution can start right here. If you can hit that like button, you subscribe button, and you can comment or something on this podcast, man. Your execution starts right now. In all seriousness, man, I hope you listen to this episode, right? Run it back if you have to, share it with some of your friends, man, and just take the advice that we gave. A lot of things we're doing now and we will do in the future is just come because we're not afraid to do it or to execute. It's not that I'm bigger than you or I have more superpowers than you. It's like, no, I just have the one that matters, the one, the execution, the one that's doing it. And through doing it, it's allowed us to be able to put ourselves in position to lead other young men, to be able to teach them the same thing and give them, empower them to use the gift that God has given them. So I hope this podcast encourages you to use the gift that God has given you. We're going to continue to do this work. October 11th, man, make sure that you're in the house, all right, for our 5K, our Legacy Run 5K. The proceeds will be going to Cut Different Academy, which will be an institution, right? Cut Different Academy will be an institution that breeds young men that execute, right? Every young man that comes out of Cut Different Academy, they have the power, right? The power to know who they are, right? And the power to know where they're going, which will allow them to execute at a high level, right? To have a clear path to success for them, not for what society tells them, but for them and for who God created them to be. All right, that would all happen at Cut Different Academy. So make sure you're supporting that 5K. But other than that, man, it's almost holiday times. We got the October, we got November coming up. There'll be Christmas before we know it, man. So we appreciate everybody that's been tapping in with us. We're gonna keep this journey going, man. And let's just keep going. You got anything, Rocky, before we spin off?
That's it. Let's go.
Hey, that's it, y'all. We'll see y'all next week.